pbc-atx.com. And vote after you've heard the pitch. That's always helpful. I'm not going to do these gentlemen any justice, so I'm going to pass the mic around and let them tell you a little bit of who they are. I think most of you have had some sort of mentorship session or a sidebar at this point, but it's awesome to have them. I've heard their feedback before, and it's very constructive. So,
thanks, Ray. Mike Nichols, IBM Global Entrepreneur.
And Techstars founder.
And Techstars founder. Alone?
Yeah.
Oh, give it back. I can go. Go for a long time.
Dave Direct, Techstars.
Jeff Hudson, Local Development USA.
all right, are we live? Are we ready? All right, first round.
Everything around us is becoming smart, yet 15% of the population, the kids who actually know how to use this stuff, are not allowed to control the thermostat in a house or even play with the connected basketball that Wilson just released. Hi, my name is Crystal Watry, co-founder and CEO of Dynamic, and we're working to change this. Our IO Kids platform provides a single sign-on for kids to be able to log in and play with their friends. We allow parents to be able to control their online experience and who they engage with online, and then we allow companies to be able to easily access this under 13 market for the IoT. This is a patent-pending platform. We operate on a SaaS model. We took our MVP out to Toy Fair and Digital Kids. We were able to secure the interest of a top 3 toy company, MakerBot, and we landed our first smart toy, Linkits. So why do we think we can do this? Well, it's not rocket science, and I'm kind of a rocket scientist. I have multiple units that have docked with the space station, and I used to manage the ultra-secure communication satellites. I have a phenomenal team of software developers, and we're here to change how kids play today and connect them into the IoT so that your kids are safe online.
You got extra seconds. All right, let's go. So business model.
Business model. Our business model is that we charge the companies based on their monthly active users. So companies install a login widget into their app that allows the kids to authenticate, and we charge them based on the number of kids that they have authenticated each month.
Have you thought about reporting requirements, anything like that, given that this is, sort of part of the online, sort of a solution to the Online Privacy Act?
Absolutely. So COPPA requirements require verified consent from the parents. That's actually why all these companies are not engaging the kids space. So the way we do that is by having one app that parents can become verified and then control like their friends list and control the apps that they're using. This allows brands to utilize our platform to gain that consent so that they don't have to create their own experience with the parents. They use our experience. So we focus on the parents and the kids, and they focus on the cool products and the technologies they're bringing out. And this really enables the personalized play and the social play that's really missing for the under 13 market today.
So I'm still a little curious about like distribution, how you get, how you're onboarding or finding these families with kids and how they wind up in your, using your platform. Is that something you're dependent upon the business partners for, or is it something you have a plan to kind of scale up? How do people kind of find out about this and share it?
Absolutely, twofold. So I'll give you an example. We talked to MakerBot. They have a Thingiverse platform that's a platform that's heavily used in K through 12, yet they pretend that kids under 13 aren't using their platform. So what they need to do is basically utilize our login widget to allow teachers to authenticate the child in the classroom. So one, we're providing a interface for schools to be able to onboard all the kids. So you drop Johnny off for his first day of school, and he logs in, and creates the login. We get the verified consent from the parents, and that onboards through the school. Thank you.
John Wanamaker was quoted saying, "Half of all my advertisement is wasted." That was in 1893. We are in 2016, and that is still very true today. Companies waste millions of dollars on outdoor advertising that they don't know if they're getting their true return on it. As for the Road has implemented taxi top digital billboards here in Austin that use GPS and time to specifically target areas and opportunities. This is small to what we are trying to do. Currently, we are developing a beacon system that tracks with your phone and targets an advertisement directly to the customer and consumer, and then has a second portion at the terminal or checkout counter where we can see what they bought, so you have a real-time ROI, and we can make a marketplace out of the store and out of home advertisement. It's a $7 billion industry on the outdoor advertisement. Online is $60 billion. There's $53 billion left on the table that outdoor advertising can't touch because they can't provide ROI. Ads for Road can provide it. Do I get 3 minutes questions?
No. So your iBeacon works for out. Your iBeacon.
So we're not currently, we're still developing which one we want to do, iBeacon or a certain puck. But yes, we're going to connect using a MAC address and bring it back to the point of sales and have it online. Is that what you're asking?
So you're focused on outdoor advertising?
Yes.
Specifically?
Specifically outdoor or outdoor inside stores and stuff like that. We're using our taxis as our model. It's currently growing every day with more and more customers.
So how many base deployments do you have today?
We just have our one with our taxis, and we're just trying to track ROI right now.
Okay.
Impressions.
Where are the other exposures you're looking for? Other places to be able to go outdoors? I know on top of taxis is core to you. Is there a larger vision?
So we use taxis because the Austin laws basically have prevented any competition, and we wanted an environment where we can not really have to worry about all the regulations. So we started there. We are wanting to move to an actually physical, just standard location where it tracks you as you walk by, and we can get the advertisements that way. I'm just using it in this space because I have the freedom to test and use without worry of competition at this point.
You worried at all about sort of the latency at the point of customer? So I mean, it takes a little while for this information to flow back through the devices and for you to act on it. It seems to me like your customer might drive right by the message or walk right past it.
Exactly. There is maybe a latency problem that we're thinking of, but the point is to have the beacon further away from the sign. It's not going to be right here, so we do have the time, right? You don't want your advertisement right when they walk in the door. You want it 10 feet back as they're coming to the door, so we can have it at that point.
But if we're both potential customers and we both walk in, what's the trade-off?
That is a thing we are seeing. Either we're going to have to build in a solution where it does a multi-targeted advertisement, or it just focuses on the one, but it's still 2 exposures for 1 advertisement. Thank you, guys.
Next.
All right, you guys, I'm Mike Ray. When I bought my first car, I absolutely screwed myself. Have you guys ever had a bad car experience? Mine was so bad it took me 3 cars to get out of the debt that I created for myself. So my kids were small. I told them if they want a car, you're gonna have to buy it on your own. And I made them save cash because I wanted to teach them that debt should be a tool, not an anchor in their life. And true to their word, they did that. Little did I know at the time that we would create a company called Wise Rides, my partner Ben and I and Andrea. And what we do is we help kids coach them through the car buying process. And we're building online classrooms and tools now. We are post-revenue. We found this really cool niche with independent car dealers. A little bit about that space. The used car is a $100 billion industry. And 96% of the industry is owned by 4 employees or less at the dealership. So there's a huge niche there that we can go after. And while this applies to everyone, we've been talking to boards of trustees at schools because everybody's kind of missing that whole life skill. Everybody knows it's a problem. I met a young soldier about a year ago that was 19, bankrupt as an E2 in the Army. And not only did he lose his security clearance, he lost his job, his MOS. So it's a very real problem. I'd love for you guys to help me out. You could visit Wise Rides, Facebook and Twitter, and give us some love and share us. I appreciate it. Thank you. Questions?
So you do education for people who are going to buy cars?
Yes, sir.
So why would I pay for that?
You don't. The dealer does.
So I'm a dealer. Why would I pay for that?
Because you get some really neat, What we do is we do market cap participation, which is a natural process. Nobody owns that industry right now. Everybody fights for the same space. If you go to Auto Trader, for instance, they're having to manage a bunch of different verticals: new cars, used cars, leasing companies. We get to come out and say buying a new car is stupid. So we get to do things that other people can't. So while the technical barrier isn't really there, kind of the marketing barrier is. So it makes us very unique and very focused on how we go to message and market. And the tools are provided online. Ben and I have been spending the last year, we go to Fort Hood every Wednesday and volunteer our time to work with soldiers as they go through the reception process.
So is it like a layaway for a car, or?
No, it's really just about buying a car, right? If I buy a brand new car, it's $30,000. In the first 5 years, you lose $26,000. So it's basic information about inflation, depreciation, and expenses. And you know, as we work on tools, we're working on systems where we get more predictive. You know, unfortunately, most of America is paycheck to paycheck, right? It's just the way that it is. So while a lot of companies are getting into the space of total cost of ownership, I want to be able to tell you what you're going to have to pay in the next 30 days.
Okay. Yeah, I
No
think
questions for me.
Yeah, right. You're not getting off that easy. Yeah, I know nothing about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, what I really find I find this really compelling. What I still think is missing, we've talked about this before, is I want to know how you scale yourself, right? Because I think you know, your business model and the value that you're providing, it can scale, and I don't think you're touching on that enough for me. I really want to know how like that value gets extended out to the longer tail.
Well, we just finished our last upgrade on Thursday, and we last launched the Classics division on our website. So any car that's 20 plus years gets thrown in the Classics category, and we will be launching nationwide. So we're going to be accepting independent dealer applications because we do vet them. We just don't let them on the site.
Hi everyone, Grant Moon, founder and CEO of VA Loan Captain. Who here used a VA loan or wants to use a VA loan someday? Okay, that's about the entire room here. So I was one of you at one point. In 2008, I came home from Iraq. Wanted to use my VA loan to be a part of the American dream. However, I knew nothing about my benefit. I was a fairly educated guy, master's degree, also a captain in the Army, but knew nothing about it, none of the nuances. So what I did is what most people do, is they Google things to find out information. I came across a lender that trade dressed themselves to look like the lender and the only one to be able to do your loan. Going forward with the process, I ultimately closed on my loan, and it wasn't until I took my paperwork to my accountant, who was also a veteran, who told me I overpaid. I overpaid by 2 points. And that on a $300,000 loan equals $80,000 over the course of that loan. So I then became a VA loan expert, wrote the book on VA loans, which have sold or distributed 1.8 million copies. I then went off and built a proprietary platform that provides a marketplace for veterans to get real-time rates and fees in using their crucial benefit. To date, we power exclusively the VA loan platforms for the Army Times, Navy, Marine, Air Force, Stars and Stripes, Department of Defense Housing. We have 2 contracts along with Rally Point. Last month, we did $10.5 million in sales, and it's growing. The market size is $140 billion, and according to the New York Times, has grown 372% since 2007. We are now recently backed and have launched with the National Association of Realtors, and in mid-July are launching a program for real estate agents that ultimately brings allows them to attract and help veterans in their community with their VA home loan needs. Thank you.
So, business model.
So we make subscription model fees from lenders. We also make per lead fee, and then we also operate as a real estate brokerage and make 75 basis points of every transaction when they use our brokerage.
So they come to your site and they go through you on to the lender.
That's right.
Okay.
Us to the lender, and then last year we launched off a real estate brokerage, so taking an additional portion of the ecosystem.
Okay. What lenders are you working with today?
We have National Bank. It's normally Midwest folk or Middle America focused lenders, predominantly focused on online. So they locate typically in Kansas City. That's where most of our customers are. The reason why is because they put 200 loan officers in a room and keep their costs lower than the brick and mortars. So we're able to negotiate and bring the prices lower.
Sure.
To our bank. In addition, we require all our lenders to waive the origination fee, which is up to 1%, and make them sign a veterans guarantee pledge.
Okay.
That's like the way you opened was like, you know, it's the same way when I first applied for a VA loan. I knew nothing about it, and I was just hoping I had good help, right? So I'm curious as to how you're addressing that education piece. Like, what are you doing to help make people smarter about the process and understand that, you know, the channels they're going through. You know, how are you, Michael, raising this thing?
So the book is ultimately our first stab at that, but now we're becoming a bit more sophisticated. And the way that we're going to do that is, like I said, we're now backed and invested in by the National Association of Realtors. So what we'll be launching off this year is what we're calling a VALC certification. It's VA loan certified, and that's for real estate agents. So it'll be a designation that they get continuing education credits for, can apply that designation to themselves, and it in essence enables them, who works the most with the customer, the veteran, to be able to help and serve the community, but also gives us subscription model revenues, again, on top of what we've been doing.
Come on, Air Force.
The humble Air Force up here. Hey, so I'm just curious, in this room, who has experienced flying drones or at least know about drones? Just give me a hand. So everybody here knows it's sort of the wave of the future, right? They're sexy, everybody loves them. The question is, how are we going to implement them into our daily lives? There are use cases in industry, the military, and for what we're going to talk about is public safety. So, looking at our world environment as it continues to change and become dynamically different every day, you can look at bombings of terrorists, or terrorist bombings in Paris, Brussels, even Boston. You can look at explosions and mass casualty events like the fertilizer plant in West Texas, or even use of force controversies in cities across the US. What do these all have in common that a drone can solve? Well, live aerial video could have helped all of our public safety defenders help analyze their situations, take appropriate action, and then move on and help the public good. So what are we trying to do? My team and my co-founders have a background as an Air Force pilot, as well as an FBI and Homeland Security grant developer, and currently in the Texas National Guard Emergency Management guy. He's awesome. So what we're doing is we are developing a tethered drone solution for public safety vehicles. Imagine a drone attached on a powered string on every cop car, fire truck, EMS vehicle in the US. Now the point of the powered tether is pretty simple. The powered tether, which is just a wire attached to the drone, gives us two benefits: unlimited flight time, as well as some regulatory avoidance of FAA issues. We've talked to over 100 experts in the field, and overwhelmingly they say they want to use drones to help them do their jobs, but there are three problems. Drones crash, drones have limited flight time, and drones are difficult to regulate. Our $1 billion industry that's growing over 100% in the next 3 years is ripe for change, and we think we can do it with a 15x ROI in 5 years.
So you've picked a hardware play.
We picked a hardware play, but it transitions.
Very tough, right? And the wider part of that too. So talk a little bit about your plan to actually get a prototype, get it scaled, working with local agencies, or what sort of the approach?
So the big picture is we're trying to stick with the Texas public safety agencies, local Austin Police Department, DPS, as well as Opportunities and Border Patrol. And really what we're trying to do is figure out the best use case for the people who need it the most, the people who are looking for a way to help them do their jobs better and protect themselves better. Secondarily, as far as the hardware play itself, we're not engineers, but one of our teammates is an engineer. His background, he's a Taiwanese engineering whiz kid, so he's going to help us build this thing. I have a garage full of crashed drone parts. Trust me, it's not easy to fly these things, and you don't want your cops flying them either. That's a lot of money that our taxpayers have put into broken cameras and such. So we are going after building this thing. We're going to try to get the pilot ready by the end of the year. and then we're going to field it and get feedback and iterate, and then move on to MVP.
So when you deploy it, who is flying it?
So a couple different ways to manage it. The dream, the moonshot here is it automatically manages itself. So ideally, it would tie into the vehicle's CAN bus, and all you have to do is know that the flashers are on, the vehicle's in park, the door opens, and it would automatically deploy to 10 feet or whatever regionally is appropriate, so it avoids hitting stuff. And then you have a third eye in the sky to supplement a body cam or a dash cam for police accountability and evidence gathering.
So most just give you altitude and a broader view in the area, so it doesn't really go out very far.
So the intention for us initially is to have it go up, and we chose 150 feet for a deliberate reason. FAA Part 101 covers moored balloons, so essentially this is going to fall under a different regulatory schema. And by going straight up, we're not going to be having guys flying them into buildings or trees.
All right.
You don't have to stop reading it.
Hey everybody, how you doing today? So, cybersecurity is a totally big deal. People get breached every day. I'm sure somebody in here has got this little notification saying my stuff has been breached or whatever. You get a new credit card or whatever. So it's a big, big problem. And the funny thing is, people are spending millions of dollars on cybersecurity, defenses and IDSs and all these different acronyms that nobody knows what they mean. But people are making a killing on snake oil. So what did I do? I'm a Navy veteran, so I want to protect people in all kind of different ways. I want to save people money from buying crap products to try to defend their network that don't work. So what we did is we created this thing called Vthreat. What Vthreat does, it imitates attackers on networks. So what it does is we pretend to be hackers on your network for you without actually hacking anything. And how did I do this? Well, I'm a hacker, right? I'm the friendly neighborhood hacker is what my man calls me here. So what we do is we're able to allow customers to visit a web page, and from that web page, we imitate a really intense breach. We send credit cards out the network, bank accounts out there, medical records. So it's pretty cool. It's catching on. We've had some traction. So our traction is we've raised $1.4 million in funding. We just launched our product in December. We have 6 figures in sales already. We use a lot of different things. We use IBM Watson, all these cool things. So we're trying to change the game. We're trying to raise the bar on people's cybersecurity and trying to just make everybody better. My goal is to make everyone a hacker. That means anybody in the room can visit a web page and launch attacks right from the web page. SaaS model, annual subscription, and people are loving it. And also, Patriot Bootcamp is awesome. Real talk, I've been to a lot of veterans events. This is the most well put together veteran event I've ever seen. Thanks very much for having me.
So who are your clients right now? Who do you see the most traction from?
Most traction from healthcare. We're signing a deal with the biggest healthcare provider in upstate New York. We also signed an advisory board, who's a medical consultant place. They do SaaS stuff for medical and hospitals and stuff. They love it. We're getting a lot of traction from like high-level CISOs and people like that. And so we actually have our customers selling for us now. It's awesome.
Good place to be.
Great place to be.
Could you go into a little bit more about what makes your solution unique? Obviously, it's a huge industry, a lot going on, but what's different about what you're doing?
Yeah, so the difference about what we do, most people, they're building all these solutions and all that. There's no way to check to see if they actually work in your environment. And any IT person is known, like, hey, yeah, cool, we have this new solution, but you get it on your network and it doesn't work, right? So what our software does, and I actually worked at all kinds of different agencies. I worked at NSA, I worked at Defense Cybercrime Center, I worked at CMS, they're Medicaid and Medicare services. There wasn't a good way to evaluate tools on your network. So what we do is like when you bring a tool on the network, you run our simulations to see if the tool actually works. So we're like a trusted advisor to companies to make sure that their cybersecurity software actually works. We're not another defense. We're like doing the red team operations for them to check to see if they're working right.
So is it safe to say you're more of you're a QA type of product for cybersecurity?
Yeah. So it's kind of like automated testing for cybersecurity infrastructure. That's what we do.
And I think that's a great hot button to push on because there's some great
scale.
Yeah. So one of the cool things that our customers like is we're able to allow them to do. They want to cover their butt. They're buying stuff, and the problem is they don't know if it works, and it's a hard time proving to their executives, their investors, and stuff if it works or not. So we help them get that due diligence.
Before we go to the next one, for the audience favor, please limit it to one vote. We do statistical analysis pretty well. You can see when votes occur before people actually pitch. So just for your essay, just limit it to one vote. Thanks.
Patriot Boot Camp is great. I love it. It's awesome.
Oh, for me? Yeah.
A couple months ago, I met a Syrian refugee named Omar. He told me his story about how he walked from Syria to Germany. And that's like walking from Austin to Vancouver, British Columbia. He told me that for him and the other millions of refugees out there, that connectivity was more important to them than food and shelter. And everybody in this room understands the value of connectivity. There are people here that wouldn't be here today if they didn't have a radio that just worked. Funny thing about radios is that the times that we need to get connected are sometimes, the times we need to be connected the most are the times that are sometimes the hardest to get connected. Like when we're traveling overseas, or when there's an emergency, like when the power goes out and you have 11% left on your smartphone and that's it, right? Candle is a device that you want to have when you travel overseas or when you're in an emergency. It's also a device that we can give to refugees and disaster survivors when they need connectivity most. It's the world's first ultra-rugged global 4G hotspot. It's got a battery that will power the hotspot and your smartphone for up to 4 days. It's got a lamp and a flashlight to light your way in the darkness, and it's rugged as hell. Waterproof, shockproof, and works in extreme temperatures. My co-founder Jason and I are both U.S. Army veterans. We know a thing or two about satellite communications and military communications. We've both also run our own companies, but this is the most important thing that we've ever done. So we have an opportunity to help bring all of these people that are traveling and in emergency situations around the world back online when they need it most. And we have an opportunity to help the more than 60 million refugees around the world get connected and brought back into the global community. So we're going to be applying to Techstars IoT. If you can help us with that, we'd love your help. You can also join us online at our getcandle.com website, and we're doing a Kickstarter in September. So hopefully you'll get Candle. Cheers.
So does it work like how does it pick up the bandwidth? You know, to get the 3G or the 4G signal. Is it better at that than other devices, or?
Yes, so it's bigger than most global hotspot devices that are in the size of the shape of a puck. Well, Candle is a little bit larger. It's the size of a water bottle, and we have larger antennas inside of it. So it works a little bit in a broader area. It has better range than other devices, but it's picking up global 3G and 4G networks around the world.
Can you talk a little bit about market size? So, obviously, it sounds to me like you're looking at, NGOs or some other kind of company in the middle, or a well-funded business traveler, that kind of thing. Seems like a limited market, but am I missing something?
Yeah, so great point. It's actually, we're targeting consumers with the product, okay, as well as providing them to NGOs to support refugees. So there's really two marketplaces, right? $57 billion spent last year alone in roaming fees around the world. 1.5 billion of that was for global hotspots by themselves. And so we can play in that market. 30 to 40% of that market is, 34% of that market, is business travelers and backpackers that are tech heavy. So that's kind of our market on the consumer side, and on the NGO side, we would build partnerships with the groups that can take these into.
Kind of unfair, but do you have a price point in mind?
Yes, $2.99 for the device, and then we charge $10 per gigabyte for the data.
So you have the service side as well?
Yes, we actually, we're partnering with a company. They do all the actual hard lifting, and we take 30%.
So is the consumer device and like the NGO device or the kind of refugee or crisis type device, are those things the same?
For now, they're the same thing. We've talked about building a lower cost version that would be even more rugged and maybe have less features for refugees. We just haven't gotten that far down the road yet. All right, guys, thank you very much. Cheers.
So we're going to take a little bit of a break. We're going please do that. If it's someone that is going to be in the winning bracket, we'll keep going down the chain until we give a gift to someone who get to make it to the top. These are fantastic prizes. I try to